Welcome to Jackknife TV. Just to let you know that this video is a little bit long. Take my opinion with a grain of salt. But this is how I feel about trucking and I guess the way things are going right now. So if you don't like it, hey, I don't know what to tell you. I've gone through a lot of stressful situations and bullshit in trucking that it's just, it's allowed me to build up this mentality that, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So let's get at this video. So welcome to Jackknife TV. I know it's been a while. I am sorry for being away so long. I just been concentrating on my business more. Not really taking the time out to do videos or set up the camera and everything. Mostly just been running and asking for loads constantly, one after the other. Run reefer, a lot of times what happens is, you'll end up delivering at weird hours, not being able to get enough sleep. So any sleep that you do get, you take it. So therefore, I just haven't really had the energy or I don't know, lack of content, I guess, to make any videos. It's pretty much the same old reefer story here. Open the doors, close the doors, detention, wait to get unloaded, check the reefer. The whole trucking gig. It's not like when I did flatbed. I just don't have that content, that every day something new and interesting to put out. So then, like I said, I've gotten lazy. On top of that, I guess I just been trying to run and make money and spend as much time with the family as I can. So I just haven't I haven't been wanting to sit down, edit a bunch of video from multiple cameras. I have to download it. I have to place it on the phone or whatnot, because I'm only editing off the phone right now. I've been meaning to get a laptop. I want to get a laptop, but I've been focusing on other things. Me personally, I kind of have a goal to pay off all of my credit card debt by the end of the year. So I haven't been wanting to buy a $2,000 laptop that's able to edit 4K footage. I just haven't been wanting to do it. I've been putting it off and putting it off. And, there I did have a Samsung there for a little bit that I paid like $2,000 for the laptop. And, on day one, I was having problems with it locking up and doing stuff. And I sat down and I thought about it. I said, this $2,000 I spent on this laptop, is there anywhere else that I could use that money that would be, more valuable to me than, making YouTube videos? I'm not saying guys that subscribe to my channel or help out or even comment, even the nasty comment, I'm not saying that you guys aren't worth it, I guess, but in a financial aspect, I don't really make any money off YouTube. Now that maybe in the future that may change, but as for right now, I don't view it as an income source. I just view it as me personally coming on here and given my tribulations, whether good or bad, and trying to help somebody out. Whether people see that for that, or they see me as arrogant and ignorant or whatnot, it is what it is. So now that I've gone past the little, I guess, introduction, since I've been gone so long, let's get into talking a little bit about business. And I know a lot of guys are going like, well, you're just a one-man owner-operator. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, I ended up having a conversation with certain people that know what's going on in this carrier. So I'm leased to a carrier that runs dedicated loads for, and a handful of other large grocery warehouse type of and non-grocery warehouse type of customers. And so I'm privy to some extra information here that I wouldn't normally have. That this would be information that you would have if you were, let's say, a large carrier and you work directly with these customers. So I'm not going to give any names of the customer, but we already know who the customer is if you watch my channel. But I'm just trying to keep this information vague, I guess, because I don't know if I'm allowed to really talk about it. But so there's a certain customer that, let's just say they are a rather large protein distributor, and a few weeks ago, I was having problems, me personally, with months, I guess it's about a month or so ago now, with lack of loads. So I come to find out through the grapevine and through talking to people that pretty much what happened was we went from having 23,000 loads a month down to 17,000 loads a month. And that happening, definitely affected our operation, as in the company I'm leased to. And the customer made some, demands to lighten the truck pool. So luckily I'm still here, I guess you could say, but this is a large customer, and everybody already watches this channel knows the name. But I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to not throw rocks at a glass house here, or whatever kind of analogy you want to use. So I'm just going to leave it as vague as I possibly can, and that's at least what's happening for me. Now, am I still running loads and making good money? Yes. Is it to the extent that it used to be? Not really. My gross checks went from easily $7,000 to $8,000 a week. That's with being home usually on the weekends, to now I'm on the road as long as I can, or as long as I'm dispatched, and I'm grossing $6,000, $5,000. The money's still there. It's not as great as it was, and as often as it was. I might go 2 or 3 weeks making we'll say 2 weeks. I might go 2 weeks making a good gross, we'll say $5,000 or $6,000, to a week where I only gross maybe $3,000, $4,000, and that still sounds good for most guys, and you know what, it is. But guess what, if you haven't watched my channel, you'll know that my overhead is extremely huge. I did something kind of sporadic last moment, and I have a new truck that between the insurance and the truck payment, I'm paying about $5,000 a month for, just about. So that being said, my overhead's extremely high, and if I wasn't with this dedicated carrier, I would never even think of doing that. But I also, like most guys would say, oh, food's always going to move. Well, it's still moving, per se, but what about all those guys that got let go? Because the load count went from 25,000, 23,000 loads a month or whatnot, down to 17, or who knows, maybe less. I'm not privy to this information every month or whatnot. But that seems to be where it kind of landed. Load-wise, it's definitely been a big drop, and they've moved carriers around and done stuff, so I've lost certain runs that I usually do or were doing that gave me great mileage. There for a while, I was going down to like Henderson, North Carolina, Walmart, over to Wilkesboro, North Carolina, picking up a load. That load would get transferred up to, I forget the name of the town, but anyway, it would go to like Middle Illinois, somewhere up there, and I would run a load from Illinois back to Pennsylvania. So that's a huge, that's a good mileage run right there. And now I don't really have that. I've been doing the Henderson Walmarts here lately once in a while, but I've been having, like I said, to put myself out there, make myself available through weekends and things to be able to get those loads. Other than that, I get stuck on loads such as what I have today. I know this is kind of going off of what I was talking about for business-wise, but but you know, I guess it just plays into it. So now, like I said, I'm stuck with like what I have today. Go to Restaurant Depot over here in Providence and sit from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to get unloaded at a Restaurant Depot. And tomorrow I get to go to Performance Food Groups over here in Taunton, Mass. So that'll probably be another 6 hours. Now, luckily, like I said, I get paid detention and everything, so I'll get paid probably at least like $300 or $400 for sitting there at Restaurant Depot today. But still, I'm not moving. I'm not making the money that I could make. And that's probably happening to a lot of guys. Now, I'm not saying the sky's falling necessarily, everyone. It's, you know, if you have the right connections and you're at the right place, you will survive. But for everyone else, I don't know what to tell you. It's if I was still doing spot market flatbed, which I still had customers at the, you know, thanks to the carrier that I signed on to, middle of, I guess you could say, COVID, because I was having problems with my business too. In fact, anybody know I used to have my authority and I let it go, but we're not going to try to get into that right now, I guess. Like I said, I'm just trying to explain what's happening right now. If you're just running plain old spot market loads and you're not in the right place at the right time, because I'm not going to say everybody's failing. You know, there are certain people that have lower costs to run, lower home cost. They may live in the truck, and they can make it through, you know, $2 a mile, $1.80 a mile flatbed loads or reefer loads or whatnot, and they can make it work. And I'm not saying that's where you want to be. That is definitely not where you want to be as an owner operator or a fleet owner. But if you can survive through this, and if you actually have, you know, funds or maybe even credit, and you have maybe an in somewhere, maybe with a dedicated customer or something, it is the time. Right now is the time to slowly grow your operations and wait for the market to come back. It will come back. Do I believe it's going to come back this year? No. Has it been leveling out slightly? Yeah, it has. But then again, look at fuel. Fuel's going back up again too. So is the leveling out, are the rates going to keep up with, you know, fuel climbing again? I don't know. I have a fuel surcharge, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm not trying to say that for, you know, to be ignorant or whatnot, but I'm just saying, you know, I feel kind of safe. But like I said, who knows with reefer? Everyone's like, oh, get a reefer, you know, you'll always have work. There's only so much work to go around. And I think that's one whole big problem that we have right now in the industry, is there's only so much work to go around right now. And guys are maybe being naive and thinking it's just the trucking industry that's having a problem, and listening to mainstream media outlets and things like that, and listening to our government. You know, I'm not trying to make this political right now. I'm just trying to say that if you actually go and do your own research, here we go, you'll see that the economy's hurting and it's not coming back. Look at the interest rates. No one's going to go spend tons of money, especially like, let's say, flatbed guys. No one is going to take no intelligent company, unless they I don't know, maybe have their ducks in a row. No intelligent company is going to take a loan out for a multi-million-dollar project at the interest rates that are going on right now. They're not stupid to do that. They know that is wasted money that they probably won't get back for a long time. You know, it's just you know, how long is it going to take for them to get that investment back and make profit? So that's like a big thing right now too, is just the interest rates. And you know, there's not a lot of money to go around for expansion, I guess you could say, for some of these larger companies. They will not take that interest rate. So what were we saying? Yeah, concerning that, you know, take my evaluation of the economy, you know, with a grain of salt. But right now is not really the time to take huge chances. Like what I did was very stupid here, but it was necessary for me. I didn't have a truck. I couldn't get a loan out for an engine because the truck wasn't worth anything, because the market dropped and the truck's value dropped. And just so happens I had enough bad luck in succession that when I blew the engine in my older truck, I didn't have enough money for a rebuild. And that's my fault, technically still. You know, even though there's bad luck, I should have still had a credit card or something I was able to get a hold of that should have paid for a rebuild, or at least a used engine. And I mean, I probably could have swung a used engine if I really wanted to. I was tired of taking those risks, if you want to put it that way, and having it not play out in my favor. So I figured I would take even a bigger financial risk for something that I could maybe at least breathe and feel that I could drive this truck to Maine and not break down. Which, I mean, has it really played out for me? I don't know. I have had problems with this truck. Anyway, let's try to get back to a little bit of a business topic here. I'm throwing some of my personal business blunders, I guess you could say, in on top of this to just try to explain where I'm coming from, and that I don't claim to be the end-all, be-all knowledgeable guy that you should definitely listen to, but at least give a rundown of what can happen and what you should probably expect to happen these next couple months. Now that being said, considering my load volumes went down, that doesn't necessarily your load volumes gone down. I'll say also that this carrier also technically lost a customer, not to anybody else. You know, I'll say the customer, I don't care, they already lost them. Kroger is they're going to only run a private fleet. That's the way they're going. So they are slowly, I guess, letting carriers go that they work with. Also, they've also had, oh man, I forget what it's called. All right, now I remember. It's called RFP. It's a request for bid proposal. So, you know, the carriers received a few requests for bid proposals, and you know, they are actively looking for more customers. You know, it's a constant struggle, I guess you could say, for anybody right now that's receiving bid proposals, I guess you could say. And it's going to be a matter of whether or not you can run a tight financial ship, I think, from a lot of companies. Look at Prime. Prime laid off 400 drivers. Now, does that mean they're going out of business? No, but they are downsizing. They are not making the revenue or profits that they thought they would make or could continuously sustain to make, and probably cover, I don't know, their everyday expenses or bonuses or whatnot. And I'm sure this is happening in a lot of places. So the writing on the wall, technically, you know, besides listening to mainstream media and whatnot, is the economy is shrinking. Are we going into a recession? All the regular factors that we usually look at for a recession are, you know, leaning that direction, are very favorable to say that, you know, we're going into a recession or already are in one. I don't know. Politics and being, you know, lying or covering up the truth for political clout, especially when it comes to economics and finance and stuff like that, is not. It doesn't benefit anybody in the end. That's for sure. So, well, except for maybe the politicians, I guess you could say, because we all have to keep paying taxes, right? But anyway. So like I said, it's not looking good, at least in my view of what's going on. It's not looking favorable. That being said, I'm not telling you don't get a truck, don't come out here, but just don't expect to be buying like a brand new Silverado, you know, in a few weeks after getting your own truck and everything. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be tough. If you have home expenses, lots of debt. If you have lots of debt, period, it's probably not a good idea to come out here right now. Sure, you might make more money per se than what you're making right now, but it might not be enough to sustain the rainy days, the what ifs and stuff. And it'll put you through a lot of stress, not only you, but your family and everything. And it just might not be advisable. That's up to you to decide. I'm not going to try to tell you not to do it. I'm just saying that, from what I've experienced over and over again through different highs and lows in trucking, that you need to pick the right time to come out here. And if you are strapped with cash and you have very little debt and you possibly have connections already in the bag, it would be a great time to come out here. If you have huge amounts of debt, a family, reasons to be home more often, you can't make yourself available to be constantly running, it's probably not a good time to decide to come out here and jump in a truck. Sure, you'll be able to get a truck very cheap right now. There's a reason for that, because a lot of people are going bankrupt and repossessions are super high and everything else. And, the interest rates are high. So people aren't, these truck dealers are trying to entice people to buy trucks because they need to keep their business running too. And I'm not trying to make this a doom and gloom, but I'm just trying to set it up for guys to understand, and gals. There's a lot more than just sitting behind this wheel and going from point A to point B and getting paid for it. Like some of the things that I've endured and went through, it's just it's just unfortunate. It's just bad timing, tons of bad luck, and I will blame myself for that because I've made unrash decisions trying to save things that I've built instead of just let it go and start over again later on. So like this truck was technically a rash decision. Is it working out for me right now? Yeah, I have the money right now still coming in. It's stressful when things happen or and I can't run the truck or something, but it's not. It's still more in the beneficial side of my business, I guess, right now, and it will continue to be that. I don't know. And the same thing goes for whatever you personally might be dealing with inside your business. It might be time. Like I had to make a decision. It was very hard. Because I only had my authority for maybe a year. But I had to make the decision when COVID happened in the beginning there, and things really just stopped because nobody knew what to do. They didn't have any systems in place to shut my business down, like my authority and everything, and lay off the two guys that I had. I had truck problems. Everything just happened right at once. I had 2 truck problems right in a row. The direct customer I had, they started funneling work off to less professional carriers, let's say the white Volvo group, and they were running dirt cheap, and I was getting less and less work for even them to run. It just, everything combined at one, and then it was like COVID was wound into that. It happened like at the same time, and I think that's what maybe brought on the white Volvo group coming into the picture, because they were, I guess, scared on how much profit they were going to make in the year. So they wanted to cut their costs. So yeah, things can happen like a blink of an eye. You can have a great dedicated customer and contract, and then next thing you know, you're gone. I can tell you that where I'm out of the region, the Pottsville region, there was 40 trucks running that account. There are now 12. I'm one of those 12. You could think you have everything set and everything in a bang, and they're gone next day. They call you up and tell you there just isn't enough work, and customer told you to get out of here or whatnot. And that could happen whether you have your own authority or not either. You have to be able to be quick on your feet and have solutions to move your employees and move your trucks and do things like that. I'm going to throw out a few channels here. One of them is going to be Lone Wolf Trucker. He's a flatbed owner-operator. If you haven't checked his channel out, I suggest you do. He just recently came across some bad luck, hit a piece of plywood in the road inside a work zone, so he had nowhere really to go. The plywood came up, smacked his brake chamber, busted his lines, and his wheels locked up on the trailer. Unfortunately, he was empty going to a load. He was able to at least eventually drag it off somewhere where he could at least stop and get off the road. But guess what? All that, all that caused a lot of damage to the trailer. Ruined the tires, ruined the brake line, ruined the brake chamber. Now, you're on your own. You're the owner of the ship, I guess you could say. So he had to call road service out. Luckily, he didn't have to get towed. Luckily, he didn't get stuck right inside the work zone, because he would have had to have a tow truck come out. They would have charged him probably for something like that at least $1,200, $1,800, who knows, because they know you're in a pickle, I guess you could say. He was able to get road service come out. They replaced the brake chambers, but he had to go get tires. He smoked all 8 tires. He ended up having a bill over $6,000, and he's leased onto a carrier. I'm sure if he wanted to, he could probably paid out of his own pocket, but luckily he got a discount and had the financing availability, of a large mega carrier, or I don't know if they're a large mega carrier, but at least a carrier behind him to cover those costs. Things like that can happen. Bam, you're out of business. You lost out on profit for a while. You're going to make all that up. And if you have home expenses, large car payments, mortgages and stuff, that could be detrimental. And like I said, I'm not trying to go down a path of I know this is like doom and gloom. And I'm not trying, I'm just trying to explain, what can actually happen out there, what you can actually go through. All these guys jump in here and they're like, yeah, man, I'm going to make tons of money and things are going to be great. I'm going to put out another channel that I adore. I love watching it. I really respect the guy. I know a lot of people don't, but I've watched his channel long enough to see that he's basically was some regular guy that ended up starting his business and making it bigger, and even though he's got Facebook fame and everything, he was determined to grow, and that is Tim Gentry. Whether you like him or hate him or whatnot, he's used his YouTube platform to market himself. He's doing what, livestock now, helicopters, moving jets and stuff. He's put himself out there and marketed his company enough that he's bringing enough revenue that he's able to do what he does. And I don't fault him for that. I don't, hate him for that. The only thing I have a problem with is him going out and saying that I know where he's coming from. He's got a great heart, but he's telling everybody that they can become him. They can be just like him. And I get you could, but he's had enough things line up in his line of work or his business that have allowed him to get where he's at, let alone the YouTube fame. He's a unique channel. He's always doing something new, and guys are, I would say 90% of his viewers are never going to be able to get anywhere near what Tim can do. That also goes for other people too. I'm not going to try to throw out a bunch of names. I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just trying to get people back down to earth and realize that the only person that's going to allow you to succeed and grow is yourself. And it's nice watching YouTube and stuff, but they're just distractions. They're great thoughts, wishful thinking, I guess you could say. And whatever's happening to those particular people that are succeeding on YouTube is definitely not, I can't say definitely, but it's not going to happen for you like that. I like to say in this business, it's more sometimes about who you know than what you know. Because I've seen some people that have started carriers that have no idea what they're doing with trucking per se. They don't know anything about trucking. They hire a driver or whatnot, and they somehow become very successful because they make those connections. They market themselves. They have a sense of business management behind them or whatnot. And whether that be presenting themselves in a favorable light to large customers or through finances, keeping their finances in check. Like I said, they might not know anything about trucking, but they know how to keep a ledger and run a business and market themselves. Tim is the exception. He seems like he knows how to do all of it. And, I applaud him for that. That's great. I just, I think he sells a pipe dream, though, a little bit. And I'm trying not to, I know, I'm basically already screwed. Like, if I ever met the guy and he heard about this, he'd probably like, go F yourself. But, I just want guys to know that don't get your expectations up in this industry. And to try to give them, also try to give you guys a snapshot of what's really happening. Even though I don't have the means to really get this information, I'm at least able to talk to people that are involved in things that are a lot bigger than what I'm doing right now. Really think about where you are in your business right now. And like I always say, know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And this is definitely one of those times here that it might be time to fold them and wait and restart for some of you. That's your decision to make. I'm just putting it out there. And I know I'm going to get criticized, for the doom and gloom, and guys are going to be like, oh, I still make $8,000 a week, and that's great. That's you. That's awesome. Make sure that if you're making that money, you're not giving it to other people. Don't go out and buy a brand new truck. Keep that money safe right now, because I think we are going to have a bumpier road ahead of you, and things can change like any minute. Like I said, we had 40 people on this account. There's now only 12. Things changed real quick for those people. Don't count your ducks before don't count your hens before they hatch, things like that. Things are changing so rapidly in this economy and environment that it's like hard to guess where everything's going to go. The only thing I can tell you, like, here's what I think is going to happen here with the future of trucking, at least the market and making money and stuff. I think we're slowly seeing, we're still seeing a decline in trucks. It's eventually going to become an equilibrium. We're going to see an equilibrium. Rates are going to kind of stabilize. We're going to be able to make enough money to kind of survive. We're going to see probably rates shoot up here, even though it's not going to be a huge season, for us. I would, through Christmas and Thanksgiving, we're still going to see rates go up, and guys are going to be like, great, we're coming out of the recession or the hole in trucking, and everything's going to be great. And then what I think is going to happen is we're going to jump into the first quarter of next year, and it's going to be like it usually is on the first quarter every year. Now, I'm not saying you personally. Some people have different, are with different customers that they might make the most money during the first quarter of the year. But for the majority of the season, the first quarter sucks. And if majority of us are already having problems making it as it is right now, what are you going to do in the first quarter when the truck the load ratio drops? All these businesses are now planning their budget for that year, because usually the beginning of the year nobody wants to do nothing. Nothing gets fixed at most of these companies. Everything's planning for the budget and for the rest of the year. What are you going to do now that you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs in the dead of winter? And you already were financially just hanging on by a fingernail. So that, like I said, that being said, plan ahead for the worst. If the best happens, that's great. That's great right now. But we can all see that people are going out of business around us. And like I said, that's why I've been off YouTube, because I think that it's always darkest before the dawn, I guess you could say. So it's going to get darker, I think. We're going to see things really get hairy here. And I just want guys to prepare for that. And if it doesn't happen, great. You have tons of money sitting around your bank that you can go out and buy all these repossessed trucks. In the meantime, learn. Be prepared for what at least I think is coming, and what usually comes. It's, if you're new to trucking, this usually happens every year. The first quarter is horrendous for 90% of guys. And it's just how business works. And you're not, you know, there's most businesses, large businesses, they have quarters where they make money, quarters where they lose money. And this is a business. This isn't a job, you know. So if you're making like let's say for instance, the $7,000, $8,000 I was making gross there, I should have been putting away some of that money for rainy days, for when I might only have weeks that I only make $2,000 or $3,000. You know, to equal out my profit, I guess you could say, to cover my bills, whether that be here or at home. And well, I'll be honest with you, right now I've been kind of more focused on paying off debt, because like I said, I would like to get that out of the way and start over fresh with a new year, and hopefully come out of the hole swinging as hard as I can. And that's the plan for me, and I'm putting myself a little bit of a risk. But like I said, I've already taken a lot of risks. I've taken very stupid risks. I imagine DIY doesn't agree with me. I know Cash King doesn't agree with me. These are channels, if you haven't heard about them, they're very open with, you know, how they run their business, as much as they can be. They show the numbers. They explain how to get your authority and everything, and they're there just to help people. Do they probably agree with me? I don't know. They probably think things are, you know, everybody can make it. They're more not grass is always greener, but they're more like the cup is half full instead of half empty. Me, I'm more of a pessimist. I've had constant bad luck. So I would, like I said, I constantly say, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And if the best comes, guess what? You can go out there and buy your new truck, buy a truck, buy more trucks, expand your business, and you know, save, pay your debt off as fast as you can. Don't be a slave to the lender, such as Dave Ramsey says. Keep that money in your pocket and not in other people's pocket. Have I followed that? No, I've frantically been trying to crawl the ladder in trucking business, I guess you could say, and been constantly knocked down over and over again, and been making bad decision after bad decision, just trying to hold on to what I grew. When you go from I know it's small. When you go from having 2 people, an employee, and trucks and everything, and technically I didn't have to work. The pound of profit I was making with the loads I was doing and what I was doing, I could have not worked. I could have stopped being at home. I continuously worked because I knew there were going to be problems and things that arise that I would need my income to fix, and put all right back into the business. The problem was I didn't think it was going to all happen at once. And if COVID did happen, I probably would be on here doing other videos with more employees. I'd be moving utility poles around, doing flatbed work and stuff. I probably would be in a much happier demeanor, not so erratic and unprofessional like. It just, you know, I've been knocked down a bunch of times, and it's gotten to the point where I just, you know, it's just F it. I'm kind of in that mentality. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm probably on like a 20 or 30 minute rant here. So if you watched this far, please like and subscribe. I'm hoping this came out sounding very professional. I'm trying not to say and a million times like I've noticed I've done before. And I wish I tried to stay on subject as much as I could, but I probably haven't, so I apologize for that. But anyway, like I said, like, subscribe, leave your comments, what you think is going to happen. And do you think anything I said has any merit? If not, you know, go ahead and, you know, roast me down in the comments too. But like I said, I'm over it. This is Jackknife TV. Thank you for stopping by. Please, in my opinion, at least save for the rainy days. I think, like I said, I think it's gonna get worse here before it gets better still. And I hope I'm helping someone out there. So take care all, and be safe out there.